Christian, who are you wearing today?
Well, I'm wearing a Mandalorian shirt, but I don't know the make and model.
And that's because we are talking the Mandalorian. Let's get into it. Welcome to Was It Good, the podcast that reviews movies and TV shows. Today, we're taking a look at Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 1. I'm Ravi, and as always, I'm joined by my two brothers,
Arjuna.
Krishna.
And, of course, we have our producer.
Me, Michael. Whoops. Technically, my mic's not on. Michael is my name.
Nailed it. And we are Was It Good?
Oh, wow.
There it is.
That's how you can tell right off the bat. They have not done this in a minute.
You haven't either.
No, I'm saying they, as in all of us. Like, I'm including myself.
Oh,
there.
you've reached the level of celebrity where you refer to yourself in the third person.
Yeah,
Yes.
you could just say we.
Yeah, you could said we. We haven't done. We're rusty.
I mean, sure, I guess. I mean, saying it that way just feels a little bit more cinematic. Because
Okay.
I'm crazy and I've lost my mind, clearly. Speaking of things that have lost their mind, the creators of The Mandalorian.
Wait, what? How did they lose their minds?
I wanted to come out of the gates really, really hot with this episode because while it's been 2 years, more than 2 years, since we had an actual season of The Mandalorian, we did obviously have in 2022
last year. Yeah.
Last year we had 3 episodes featuring The Mandalorian, Grogu in the Book of Boba Fett. Basically, the whole reason you watched the Book of Boba Fett.
You didn't watch for the back to tanks?
No, not even a little bit. Not the Cad Bane, not the Cobb Vanth.
Not the biker gang.
Not the Power Ranger,
biker gang.
Not
Those were good times.
Not emo anger or goth Chewbacca. Not that either.
Oh, Black Chrysanthemum.
Yes, goth Chewbacca.
Chugatha.
He's very gothic. He was moody and ripping people's arms off. But yeah, 2 years since we've had a proper season, and we got this.
You got a premiere.
We got a premiere. How would you guys sum it up in one word?
Interesting. I'm getting disappointment vibes from Ravi.
Disappointed.
Very interesting. I would say spectacle, because they started off this premiere with a bang. It started off. I feel like I don't remember the season 2 premiere. Obviously, the season 1 premiere was like that nice sort of slowish encounter in the bar, right?
Right.
With Mando collecting a bounty. This one was like, oh, there's like a ceremony going on. There's a big crocodile coming out of the water, and Mando comes in his Naboo starfighter and blows shit up. I was like, oh wow, they're just jumping right into this one with the action. So yeah, I'm gonna say spectacle. It was a spectacle.
Did anyone, when the opening scene happened, did anyone think that it was actually a flashback?
I was going to bring up the exact same thing.
I thought it was, yes.
Yeah. I did initially, and then I was like, but wait, that's the other guy, and like, so is he really, really fucking old? And I was like, maybe.
You're talking about Vizsla.
Yeah. I'm like,
or Jon Favreau's.
The big guy.
Yeah.
Jon Favreau has to have a cameo in everything he does.
Right.
Character.
And so I was like, oh, he's either really, really old, like he's much older than we thought, or this isn't a flashback, and then it's obviously proven it's not a flashback. But I think they wanted you to at least think it is a flashback. But I think it's not a flashback, it shows you that they've built up their forces pretty well,
right?
From where we last saw them in Book of Boba Fett, because it was just Vizsla and the Armorer at that time. So yeah,
which is it's interesting with time and they're building up their forces, because Favreau came out on the carpet, right, and he was saying that between the events of season 2 to season 3, which includes the events of Book of Boba Fett, it's about roughly 2 years.
Yeah, so there had been confusion earlier in the day. It had been on a podcast. People had misinterpreted his comments by people thinking that Grogu had been with Luke on that planet for 2 full years. And so people were like, wait, what? Like, so Book of Boba was 2 years long? Like, what the heck was this guy doing? Sleeping in back to tanks all day. But what he was, I think what he kind of clarified on that red carpet was essentially the time in between the seasons is roughly, like the time in real life between the seasons is the time in between. So like it's essentially around a year Grogu has been with Luke, and then it's been around a year since Grogu has been reunited with Din.
So it's more than enough time then to build a group of Mandos of that size. Because that was the one thing that kind of surprised me. Because I did watch a couple of key episodes of Book of Boba, Mandalorian Season 1 and Season 2. And the one thing that really stuck out was the fact that the last time you see the armor and Vizsla, it's just the two of them.
Yeah.
And then now
on
they've
that
got
cool space station.
30-plus Mandos and kids. And
Yeah, they got
whole
kids
group.
now. They're
They got a
recruiting
cool,
hard.
They got a cool cave.
yeah, they have a cool cave.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have a dead crocodile, so.
Do you think
Yeah.
those are what's her name? People that left her?
Bo-Katan?
Bo-Katan, thank you.
I don't think so, but I don't know. I don't know enough about
Well, so
the
remember,
lore of
right.
Mandalorians.
So, I mean, we can do a quick, surface level deep dive. That makes no sense, but whatever.
A surface dive.
We'll do a surface dive.
A shallow
snorkel.
dive.
Yeah.
if
We'll
you
do a
will.
little
we'll go
snorkel.
dumpster diving.
Yeah,
for
we'll
lore.
dump this dive. The main thing is the Bo-Katan people are people that were born on Mandalore, have had generations of Mandalorian ancestors. The group that Din comes from, known as the Tribe, which is the armor and Vizsla, they are followers of a religious sect called Children of the Watch. They are not necessarily made up of Mandalorians born of Mandalore or the subsequent planets around Mandalore. They are primarily of foundlings who follow the teachings of the Children of the Watch. In the last episodes of Book of Boba, the armorer actually says, because Din asks the armorer about Bo, and essentially, I'm paraphrasing, she says, well, Bo and people that were born in Mandalore, they all lost their way. That's why they were nuked by the Empire, and why we, the Children of the Watch, survived the big burning and everything, because we keep our masks on and we're true Mandalores. So, to sum it all up, I don't think the people that left Bo would have gone to the Children of the Watch because they are more of an extremist type of religious group, as opposed to what Bo was putting was the various houses and whatnot back together.
Right.
So, there you go.
Boom. Star Wars Game of Thrones edition.
Yeah, kind of. Kind of.
But different
actually.
houses.
But there's less backstabbing and more sitting around and moping.
Yeah, that is a lot of
moping, actually.
Lots of,
That's what ruling's all about.
Sitting in an empty castle.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to jump over Arjuna for one more impression because the moping kind of ties into my one word, which is coincidence. So you all said something hilarious last season about Mando season 2 where, you were basically like, it's a D&D episode, right?
It's a fetch quest.
It's a fetch quest.
A quest.
And this
Love a fetch
season,
quest.
right off the bat, has kind of presented itself to me as coincidence will be the main thing for everything. From the start of the episode where it happens to be a giant crocodile decides to come out, and the Mandalorian happens to show up with his little space jet. He happens to see Bo just kind of sitting there moping or whatever. She's not doing something else. Like, I don't know. It's just the first episode felt like a lot of just kind of silly coincidences, which I get. It's a TV show. You gotta push the story forward, blah, blah, blah. But it just felt at some point like, okay, I guess that's cool.
Even the
Would
pirates.
would you say you had a hard time buying back into this world?
Yes. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Andor has made it too hard for you.
Yeah, because Andor's like, it's again, and I think it's also, like, when you look at season 1 of Mandalorian versus season 2, season 1 is, to me anyway, it's still better than season 2 because in season 1, you had no idea what the fuck was happening, right? Like, it was all big mystery. And I've said this multiple times. I love the mystery box. This season feels pretty, especially after watching everything in Fett and Mandalorian, the previous season, it feels pretty obvious what's going to be happening. He's going to go to Mandalore, take a weird bath in some acidic water that he probably should let touch his skin. He's probably going to, unite the people and probably have a big fight with Gideon and woohoo.
Some of the best Star Wars, though, doesn't really have a mystery box to it. Like, Clone Wars and Rebels, you know how those end. You knew how those ended from the start, right?
Right.
Like, you knew in Clone Wars that Order 66 was coming. These clones were going to turn on the Jedi, kill most of them.
Mm.
Rebels, you knew that, eventually you're getting to the rebellion and
Right, but
and whatnot. But so there wasn't necessarily that's never been the strength of Star Wars.
Right, but if you go look at the Clone Wars, the reason that one worked out, I think, so well was they had the various arcs that explored not just a central group of characters, right?
Sure.
They were exploring a bunch of new characters in various parts of this war, essentially. Yeah. Rebels obviously was focusing on a group of individuals struggling on the outside. We knew what was going to happen, but we did not know the journey that they were going to get to. We still don't know the end story of we know the end story of everybody, of Kanan, right? But everybody else we still is up in the air. So I don't know if it's necessarily I think they had a little bit of mystery box to them, and they weren't that predictable. But I feel with this show and the fact that it has to serve a bigger purpose of every fan and every new fan buying in, while those shows it was just made for, hardcore nerds in my opinion.
Do you think we're reading into that too much though? In
Which
terms
part?
of that they are actively thinking of how to service every single fan, or are they just trying to make the story
good content?
Yeah, exactly. You say, we know where we're going, right?
Sure.
But so let me ask you right off the bat, where is the season going?
Bold predictions.
We're not doing bold predictions.
No,
yet.
but just
we're doing
overall,
that at
right?
the end.
Yeah.
We're doing the end. Okay, I'll give you my obvious prediction.
Yeah.
Din is going to unite Mandalore.
Okay.
I'm not going to give you the specifics, but I'm going to give you the overview. Din's going to unite Mandalore. And we're going to get some kind of Easter egg around Grogu's history. We're not getting all of it still, but that will be a bigger drop. And then the Empire will play probably a bigger role, though there'll be a better understanding from the Empire in terms of Empire into First Order. I think those are your three main things that are going to be told and explained. So, and again, it's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
But it's also just okay.
I mean, I would agree. If it feels like going into this season and then from this first episode, this does seem like it would be the most straightforward season we have so far. Now, that's not to say that they can't throw in wrinkles and twists, but it does seem like, I know for this season, I was the least excited for it, but for no other reason than I think we're used to the world and we know what we're going to get at this point. We know it's going to be Din and the cute Grogu doing shenanigans, and that's not a bad thing. It's just the novelty has worn off. That being said, I still really enjoyed the first episode myself.
Whoa. We're not ready to ask that question yet.
Oh, I didn't say it feels good. I just said I enjoyed it. Who knows if...
Christian also enjoyed Triple Frontier, infamously.
And I thought that was good.
Oh, boy.
But you also enjoyed it.
Correct.
Juna, how would you sum it up in one word? And don't say wars.
I was going to say quest.
Oh.
I mean, again, yeah, we are on the quest. Yeah.
I mean, look, The Mandalorian has always been a quest, right?
Right.
It's always been a quest show. There's always something to do. And, I think, like Christian, I did enjoy the show. I have missed the show. It's been a long time since it's been on.
You were still in your 20s.
I was, yeah. I was a young man back then.
I mean, when the first season came out, I was in my 20s.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Isn't that weird?
When did the first season?
The first
come
season
out?
came out
2019.
19.
I was a new 30. Well, I was 30.
Actually, you know what? I think I was
You just turned 30.
I just turned 30, so I apologize.
Because it was
just turned
after
30.
we got back from Japan and
Yeah.
premiered.
Yep. And then COVID happened.
Yeah. But yeah, I would say quest. This is it's a pretty straightforward quest that our guy Din is on. He's like, let me back in, let me home, and they're like, no, you can't come back home. You must wash yourself in the magical bath. So he's like, okay,
You must bathe yourself
bye.
in the holy waters of Lake Wanamatonka.
What?
That's never.
I'm a little.
Moving on.
I do have a question for you guys. Wasn't that already established in
Yes, it
Book of
was.
Boba?
Yes, it was.
So they really just repeated it for those who
Correct.
didn't really watch.
Which again, I mean, did it help those people that didn't watch Book of Boba? Because he shows up in a brand new ship, and he's got the child with him all of a sudden.
Yeah, I
If
mean
you-
they show it in the recap, which at least is
True.
helpful.
Yep.
But I guess they are assuming that people watched it.
Or this was a big marketing plan to get people to go back to watch Book of Boba.
Yeah, I think they're going in with the idea that if you didn't watch it, you should go watch it because you've missed some stuff.
It feels like the miss here is that they should have labeled Book of Boba The Mandalorian : The Book of Boba. Because it's pivotal to this season, right? And he is in 3 episodes, and Boba Fett is a Mandalorian. So like you could have done it that way.
Sure.
Now, okay, the show is terrible, right? And the first 4 episodes are useless. And like that's the real thing you should have fixed. But I guess the easiest thing to do after this had been filmed to make sure people are watching it, because it is pivotal to the story, right? Like it's literally like if you read The Fellowship of the Ring and you close the book, right?
And then you opened up.
And then you open it up and the ring is destroyed. And the next book, and you're like, wait, what happened?
Well, I was gonna say with Lord of the Rings is like you start with the Fellowship of the Ring, and then your next book is Return of the King.
Yeah,
And you just skip out of the entire 2 towers, like
right.
Yeah,
like
it's a lot.
there's pivotal important things that clearly happened in the Book of Boba Fett. But yeah, I don't know. But it is a
Quest.
I don't know.
It's a quest.
It's a quest
bar.
to figure out what happened.
For the viewers who
figure
didn't
out
watch
what
Boba.
happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Arjuna decided that a TV series episode needed a DVD chapter listing.
I thought it's a special episode, so I figured, we should do it.
I do
Give it
think
the-
I was saying to Arjuna, to Christian, I was saying to Arjuna before this that at the end of this season, for season 3 of Mandalorian, we should have Arjuna rename each episode the way he thinks it should have been named,
Oh, nice.
and then we'll
like
compare it to how they named the episodes.
I
think that'd be
actually
fun.
love that.
Yeah, like this episode would be like start of the quest.
No, this one would be getting older because it's the prostate.
What the?
What
fuck?
the? What a deep cut.
Well, you
Anyway,
guys didn't
Arjuna-
think that when they said prostate.
Arjuna's
I thought prostate. I'm like,
Prostate,
oh,
prostate.
like you get
Jesus
older,
Christ.
and you have to pee more. Prostate issues.
All right, here we go. Arjuna's DVD chapter listing, as well as Christian's going to be presenting this, and he's going to be doing it in the voice of Yoda. Have fun with that.
I'm Yoda. Oh, well, so wait, I gotta ask the caveat then. Do you want me to rearrange the sentences? Because that could
No.
that would change
No,
what
no,
you're
just
doing.
do it in that nice, happy, grumpy voice.
Okay.
Like,
All right. Arjuna's DVD chapter listing for Mandalorian season 3, episode 1. It's like, what the fuck are we doing again? Okay.
Oh man.
Oh, well. A quest, you say? Grief, din, and peeing your pants. Now presenting the Taika movie. Sesame Street, Tiny Edition. Space Pirates of the Caribbean. Din, you ignorant slut.
I think my 2 favorite. I think Din You Ignorant Slut was good,
Yeah,
and then
that's the best one.
now presenting the Taika movie. And Christian, you weren't supposed to finish the movie part because Taika
Oh.
obviously didn't survive. He got a thing on his head.
He got crushed.
His brain got crushed.
That droid got a lot of screen time.
That here, let's just talk about one point of the season opener that I really did not like, and that is the droid.
Which one?
The IG unit.
IG-88.
Oh yeah, IG. Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense to me why he's putting so much energy and effort into that droid. Like I would totally understand if there was a way to bring the droid back, but even the little Babu Freak people,
Yeah.
Babu Frink,
Babu Frick
Frick,
is the name of the character from episode
right?
9,
but the
this is not Babu.
species.
They're called they begin with an A. I forget.
Call them
Assholes.
the Babu yeah, assholes. But they even said like we can just put new memory core in, which essentially would make a new droid. And then you go back to the point, well, then just go find another IG unit or another droid.
Yeah.
So
It's also weird for this to come a full season. Like if this was season 2, episode 1, you might understand because you just had the emotional turmoil of losing him in the season 1
Right.
finale. But it feels a season too late.
yeah, it feels like Taika said something and is getting his way.
He's
So
like,
wait,
I
I'm
need
sorry.
a
What is
paycheck.
this Taika reference with IG?
Taika was
Taika Waititi voiced the droid, right?
Oh, okay.
In the original episode, and there's also been the there's also Taika Waititi is apparently is working on a Star Wars movie. So that was the
Gotcha.
That was
Okay.
the joke.
All right.
But
yeah.
nothing's been announced really for
That
Star
went over
Wars
my head.
movies.
They're called Anzelian.
Oh, the-
Anzelin. Anzelin.
And Zelen,
The Baba Freak people.
Yeah.
the little kids.
Babu freak.
I mean, that was the only
I
good
thought
part.
that-
of
I
episode
like-
Grogu
nine.
trying to eat one was pretty funny.
I know. It looked like he went to hug
I
it.
liked that scene.
I don't think he went to eat it.
He's eating a lot of things. I would, my guess is always he wants to eat things.
Yeah.
He ate the frog eggs. He eats a lot of, like he's
But-
always trying to eat.
Isn't he
by the-
52 years old?
At this point, like 52,
Yes.
53, yeah.
Yeah.
He's an old man. He wants to do whatever he wants.
By the time Grogu's done in this universe, he's gonna have a really high like body count. He's gonna have killed a lot of beings.
Grogu, number
So
one killer
I did,
in all of Star Wars.
I did some math on Grogu, or on, I'm going to say Yoda's species, because it's not been confirmed if Grogu is a clone, a copy, or whatever, and we
He's
just
a
don't know.
droid.
But anyway,
secretly.
so I did the math, and if you, let's just pretend Yoda was 900 years old when he died, right? And that's the average age for his species. Right now, the human average is something like 75 years or something, or 70 years. So if you do 70 into 900, you get roughly, I think, like 15 or 17 or something. And then if you break that down into how old Grogu is, so he is essentially in human years, he's roughly like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And I bring this up because from what I understand and what I've been reading, most 3-4-year-olds in human beings, they don't attempt to like consistently eat like
Yes, they do.
everything.
Yeah, but he's also not a human.
No, I know. I'm
He's
just
an
saying.
alien species. He can do whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah, I don't know, Rabbi. I feel like there are a few 3 or 4-year-olds who do try to eat everything.
Those are the ones that should be locked up.
Rabbi,
think-
you were one of them.
Yeah, Rabbi, I'm
Teething.
pretty sure like
You
pretty sure
always
all
gotta eat
three of
stuff.
us had an issue of putting like everything in our mouths, like just trying to eat stuff. Like, oh, cell phone, eat. Oh,
We didn't have cell phones when we were 3-4 years old.
well, that's just an example.
We had the rotary phone.
Oh,
Yeah.
We're old, Arjuna. We're old as
Yeah.
shit. My back hurts.
I got a gluten problem.
I woke up and my wrist was fucking hurting for some reason today. I don't know why.
Oh boy, tell us how you really feel.
I took my collagen this morning.
Yeah, it's important.
I ate my chicken liver.
I had my chicken liver and it was great. Not too much salt though, because gotta keep that cholesterol down.
I mashed it with the hammer, so it was nice and like a pate.
Oh, pate's disgusting.
Never had pate.
You've never had a pate? Don't ever bother.
I like a good pate.
They have like a tuna pate. You might like that. Like mush.
Mush.
Yeah.
You gotta have the right crackers with it.
That makes sense. What's the right cracker?
Like a salty cracker.
Yeah,
Ritz.
like a crispy, salty cracker.
A Ritz cracker?
Maybe like a
Saltines.
captain's.
Oh,
Wafer?
Oh, right. The
Do you know the cracker industry makes most of its money during the holiday season? I'm just trying to push through with how I said that. Anyway, let's just keep moving on here. So real quick, biggest surprises of this season, or excuse me, this episode.
And season so far.
And season so far, yeah, because we only got one episode. Biggest surprise, I would say, the whales.
the space whales?
Space whales. Why? Why did we see space whales? Who wants to take this?
We wanted a beautiful, tender moment with Grogu because he looked up into the sky and the stars as he grows older and he grows closer to his father, Din, and he looks and he sees the whales also flying in space as he does, and he has found peace within himself and within his lot in life, just like the whales. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk, and we will see you again.
No.
Wow, that was like put me to sleep.
Yeah, seriously.
like,
No, it's because
Synergy.
synergy. Because we know that we're gonna get Ahsoka this year.
What?
We know that we're getting Ahsoka. We know that Ezra's gonna be in it. We know that Ezra from the Star Wars Rebels show took a bunch of whales took him and Thrawn and shot their asses across the galaxy.
And they went from animated into live action.
Well,
Wait, quick question. So the whales can travel through hyperspace, right?
Yes.
We
They're
know that
hyperspace
from
whales.
Rebels.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's cool. I mean,
That's
you know,
cool.
hyperspace traveling whales. They're trying to one up Star Trek.
Can somebody look this up, because maybe I'm misremembering some of the Rebels episode, but didn't Yoda in Rebels come to Ezra in a vision or some weird thing on a space whale?
Maybe.
I might be completely misremembering that, but then maybe that's the connection between Grogu and Yoda.
Because they
The
look
space
the
whales?
same.
Yeah.
Remember when, everyone called him Baby Yoda?
Yeah, and Jon Favreau blew a fuse.
Yeah, now everyone has been bullied into calling him Grogu.
Yeah, essentially. Basically, if you were media and you called him Baby Grogu, Jon
Baby
Favreau
Yoda.
got to baby. What did I say?
Baby Grogu.
Yeah, Baby Yoda. Jon Favreau got to spit on you. True story.
Even in the show, Mandalorian's like, his name is Grogu now.
It's true.
Oh,
And-
that's
and-
right.
and
Yeah.
Carl Weathers is like,
grief,
whatever
yeah.
you say.
Yeah.
Baby Yoda to me.
Whatever you say, Mondo.
It's like, I don't give a fuck.
Mondo.
Mondo.
Mumbo number 5.
So yeah, Carl Weathers' grief. He's now the High Magistrate.
He's high.
Yeah.
All the time.
And he's got pirates coming, so obviously that's going to be a thing this season.
Space Pirates of the Caribbean.
Did anyone notice, by the way, so that entire sequence on Navarro, when Mando leaves and he's flying, and then they have that interesting dogfight in space,
That was a good fight.
and he leads him to a Star Destroyer. I forget the particular class, but it was a Star Destroyer that
the pirates had
is
taken
taking over.
overtaken.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
a
I didn't
Star
notice-
Destroyer?
I didn't
I
know.
It
didn't-
looked like a Star
class.
Destroyer for like one of the variant classes that you've only seen ever in like expanded universe.
Not anymore.
Huh.
So I thought that was cool.
And I
Yeah,
think Vane survived. His number 2.
Oh, yeah.
Vane.
Yeah, he'll be back for revenge.
Did you also notice
there's going to be a big battle in the
Did you also notice the species that was with Vane were the same species as our other pirate friend, Hondo?
Yeah.
Could we be getting Hondo this season?
I think Hondo we're gonna see in
Ahsoka?
Yeah.
Why can't he show up in Mandalorian first?
Yeah,
So-
I think they would tease it. I think they would tease it in this
He's the connective
season
tissue.
first.
He's the Nick Fury of Star Wars. Hondo.
Yeah. He's like, I got to talk to you about a pirate initiative.
So that Star Destroyer, just so that you all don't think I'm crazy.
I do think you're crazy.
This is a Lego version of it. I can show you guys the pictures. It's called a Eclipse class Dreadnought. So it is from Expanded Universe. But the reason I bring it up is because it had that little, in the front, it had that little longer drop.
It looks like a space whale.
It does not look like a space
It
whale.
does.
I don't know, Chris, if you can see that. Or
so
actually,
blown out.
maybe if I just put it up this way, can you see
Oh,
it?
yeah. Oh, yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So that's what it kind of reminded me of or looked like. So, I mean, we know that the Empire had a bunch of different classes of Star Destroyers, but yeah, who knows? Might be cool.
Yeah.
What do we know about
Makes sense,
Gorian,
right?
Gorian Shard?
Gorian Shard. He is from Pirates of the Caribbean. He took one of the cursed coins from that first Pirates movie, which the title I forget at this point. The Curse of the.
Wait, are you being
Black
serious
Pearl.
or are you just?
I'm just riffing right now.
Oh, okay. I was like, how long are we gonna let him riff for?
But I mean, he's a space
We should stop
pirate.
him.
I looked it up. I don't think he's been in any.
He's been in nothing.
in any other Star Wars things before. He seems to be. I thought Vane might have been somebody too, like who appeared in a Clone Wars episode or a Rebels episode, knowing it was Filoni. But nope. Also an original character. So, yeah, both new guys, and I'm sure they're alive. So rule of thumb is they'll show up and cause trouble later on.
Cause mischief and mayhem.
So we know IG is going to be a thing this season. We know Space Pirates are going to be a thing this season. We obviously know he's going to Mandalore.
Space whales. Don't forget about the space
We
whales.
know space whales are a thing this season. And then obviously the episode ends with him going to Bo-Katan moping in her empty castle by the sea. To be fair, I don't know what's wrong with that life. I would love to be in a castle by the sea just sitting around doing nothing.
You say that
Mandalorians need a
you would get
conflict.
bored within 10 minutes.
No,
Yes.
shit.
Mandalorians need
Yeah,
conflict.
you would.
I
You-
have
know you.
so
I know.
much time lapse
I know.
opportunities.
I know you. You get bored in 10
There's
minutes.
only one way to find it. Buy me a castle.
I'm good.
It
Thanks.
didn't look like she had internet, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Or
fine. Okay, all right, qualify that. Yes, if I didn't have internet, yes, I'd be bored in 10 minutes.
There you go.
So I would need the internet. But Bo-Katan's back, and she seems a little pissed, and her hair is straighter than the last time we saw it.
She's also listed as a main cast member.
Yes.
Her
Oh.
and Pedro Pascal are the only two listed as main cast members.
Wasn't, though, everyone's fan favorite from season 1 and 2, Gina Carano, listed? She was none?
Nope.
Oh.
It's always just been Pedro Pascal as the Mandalorian.
By the way,
And
I want to
Grogu.
redact my previous statement about fan favorite. She was not fan favorite.
It was
a
you were
joke.
saying it in jest.
Yes.
Ha 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 ha.
Laugh.
I just did.
Okay.
It wasn't forced at all.
Oh, there we go. This is filmed in front of a live studio audience.
Wow, we have a very quiet audience.
Yes, because they are threatened by us.
They're riveted by our words.
Our knowledge of the Star Wars.
Yeah, but Bo-Katan is back. And she's like, get off my property. She's like, Din, Din, you ignorant slut.
She's
off my lawn.
You want the Mandalorians? Just wave your pretty dark saber around, and you'll
Yeah.
get them.
Yeah, she's
I
pissed.
wonder if that. You know,
I mean, but if
yeah.
she's so, but here's the thing. I don't think it's pissed anymore. I think it's like she's given up. Because if she was like really pissed and she was still willing to fight and figure it all out, she would have essentially been like, Din, let's fight. Because she needs the
Let's
damn
fight.
saber. And she hasn't done that, so it's kind of like I think she's just given up.
It's interesting. I didn't expect her to be in this new place for this season, like kind of at a low point. But here we are. And maybe they're going to build her back up. And she will become the Mandalorian.
Well, there is a thing in the trailer, right, where she says, I think it's implied that's to Grogu, but it's basically like, oh, you didn't think he was the only one or something.
Right, yeah.
So I'm kind of curious where that line and that context and everything comes out.
Spoiler alert, it's in this season. Maybe.
I would assume it's in the second episode because I have heard that all of marketing materials only showed from episode 1 and 2. So
Oh,
That
we'll
makes
find out
sense.
next week.
There you go.
damn.
Hopefully. There you go.
There you go. That's it. That's the episode.
That was
All
great.
right. Thank you for coming to Was It Good? That's it.
No, I
That
wanna
was
know-
literally
okay.
the episode.
I mean,
true.
yeah, we went through the entire episode pretty quick.
What
Because
about the space whales?
I want to get into the bigger things,
Oh, no.
which is your qualifiers. What will make you at the end of the season say, this was a good season? Or what will come up and happen for you to say, I'm ripping off my Star Wars tattoos?
Mm.
Ooh, I'm ripping off my... I don't have any Star Wars tattoos.
I think.
Yeah.
we're going to give you one. I think for me, we would need to learn something significant about Grogu's past for this to be a successful season. This is the third season now. If we don't get something significant around Grogu and what he is, where he's from, like his whole deal, I'm going to lose patience, I think. There's only so long you can go with him just being this cute thing, sort of learning, sort of, being this like toddler. So yeah, for me, we need to learn something significant about him for this season to be successful in my mind.
What would qualify as significant to you?
That's a great question.
Well,
I would
here,
say
I could I can give you some examples of what we've gotten so far
Yeah, that's good.
because I obviously just rewatched a bunch of stuff, and you're both gonna
His
laugh.
name is Grogu.
Yeah. So in season 2, the biggest thing was his name was Grogu, and he was at the temple.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
And then after that, for the rest of the season of season 2, didn't get anything else, except that we didn't get anything else. We got more of why he's being hunted, specifically for his blood. And then that was kind of it. And then in Book of Boba, when he's trained with Luke, he has the knowledge and the training. It's just locked away. And we got the flashback of him at the temple, specifically seeing Jedi pass and all that stuff. Jedi. And then that's it.
And the
So
trailer
I
for
think
season
me,
3.
I guess what would qualify as significant is like it could be something as simple as like, where was he born and what was his upbringing before the Jedi Council, if that's even a thing. Or, is he a clone of Yoda? Or who trained him? Like, who was involved in his training at the Jedi Temple?
It was Plo Koon.
You need all
I mean,
of those things.
we know from the trailer we're getting flashbacks from the Jedi Temple. So that makes me think we are going to get something, right? We saw that you see those 4 Jedi advancing on something with their lightsabers drawn. So I think that, we just need some more stuff. He is the mystery box, right? I mean, everything else seems pretty straightforward at this point. Everyone's got their motivations and the things they're trying to do. Grogu is the mystery. It's like the central thing holding this whole show together. So something significant needs to happen. I think it will.
Is it do we still think he's a clone of Yoda?
Oh, no idea.
I don't think
No
he
idea.
is.
Okay. Yeah.
I think he's the child of Yoda.
I think it's more likely he's a child of Yoda than he is a clone.
So Yoda and Yaddle got busy.
Yeah.
He's Yoda Snow.
Oh my God.
That's a reference.
I don't want it.
Child.
I don't want it.
But it would make Yoda such a hypocrite, though.
I mean, he was.
He
was,
wasn't.
though.
Yeah, he was.
Yes, he was. Yeah, he was.
Yoda
Yoda-
is
we've
Yoda is
talked
like
about
number one
this.
reason why everything happened.
Yeah, we talked about that.
He
We've
birthed
all
Palpatine,
argued
actually.
that Yoda, if you want to put the blame of the prequel sequels on someone, from what we've got from Clone Wars and then later in Rebels, you could put a lot of that blame squarely on Yoda.
He had so many red flags. He's like, no,
Why does he sound a little bit like Kermit the Frog?
because he's a Muppet.
It's the same
mean, they're
guy
both-
doing the voice.
Yeah.
Kermit's voice is
yeah,
Yoda's
it's Frank
voice.
Oz, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So Frank Oz is a Sith.
Actually, isn't there a meme of like Darth Kermit? Like Kermit
Yeah.
with like a hood on
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he's like a Sith. Yeah.
That would be. I mean, that makes sense. You are right. I think
That's a great qualifier.
Something
Yeah.
does have to like move that thing forward. Otherwise, it's
You're stagnant.
right. Because it's also like, yeah. Why? I mean, that's the main reason. I mean,
And it's going to be like
I've
a
been
bigger
jumping
leap
into
than
it.
we've gotten.
Right.
Like, and I would say, I guess I'd follow it up with, it needs to be a more significant piece of information or something than we got in season 2. Like, I feel like the third season of something, you know, everyone's used to the material now, so you need to change it up. You need to flip the script. Time to, you know, send the story in a different direction, something.
Here's my question for you guys. How many seasons do you feel like The Mandalorian should go for? Do you feel like we are halfway through? Do you feel like we are
well,
closer to the end than the beginning? Do you still feel like there's way more to tell? Like, how do you feel, you know, as you're watching this and you've been consuming this, where do you feel like we are at in the story?
Christian, you want to take it first?
Yeah, from what we've gotten, so The Mandalorian, right? Like, it's an interesting title, and when you first start the show, you're like, this is Din's story. He's the Mandalorian we're talking about. Now that we're in the third season, we're like, oh, it's probably Grogu, right? Grogu is chosen at this point to follow the path of the Mandalorian. He's a Mandalorian in training. So if we're going by that, season 3 feels like the exact middle, and then of like a 5-season arc. If he's made his decision, this middle season, he's going to commit to becoming a Mandalorian. Season 4, season 5, obstacles, you know, Jedi stuff maybe, conflict, and then resolve it in season 5.
No, it depends. If you ask anyone on the earth but Jon Favreau, Jon Favreau would say as many as needed.
Yeah,
Well,
he's
well,
actually
that- I mean, that's
come
the
out
right answer.
recently and said that
Literally that.
he's going to take it as long as it'll go.
Yeah, which is which is a scary thing to hear because a story needs a beginning, middle, and end to be a good, cohesive story.
Well, I would hope he's saying that, but he has an idea of like the ending.
Well,
Yeah.
so there is
But it could take longer, right, in terms of how he wants to tell it.
Is he the TV version of George R.R. Martin?
well,
Each season is like one of those books.
which are great. But if each season is its own complete story, then it can go on for as long as it wants. Because the entire show doesn't need necessarily, and
A
it could
full
have an
arc.
arc.
Yeah.
All you need is to know the end,
Yeah.
and everything in between can arc.
That's
But the problem though with this show is it's been presented as the mystery of Grogu and his history, and along the way we're picking up other characters that we're familiar with in the galaxy, figuring out what they're doing, going on their side quests, but we're still waiting for the main story to like do something. To like Christian's point, the qualifier of like, you know, poke it, do something.
I thought that was interesting because I was, as Krishna, you were saying that, I was like, oh, I totally forgot that we even cared what Grogu, what, like, I didn't even think about this episode. Like, where's Grogu from? I was just, where are they going? So I wonder if they are going to stick with that.
Judy,
Oh, yeah. So wait, are you saying that they would ignore the Grogu?
I'm
Grogu
saying that
past
they
and
may
stuff?
not be seeing Grogu's past as the mystery box that you see it, because it seems like they're more interested in telling the rebuilding of Mandalore,
Yeah.
and that the story is about the Mandalorians coming back into their own. And all I was saying is I thought it was interesting because while you were talking, I was like, oh, yeah, I totally forgot we don't know anything about Grogu. Like, I didn't even think about Grogu's past in the last episode or more.
I think there's enough connective tissue, though, and there's enough, like, that we know that stuff will come into play. Like, we know Moff Gideon is in Season 3, but he's obviously, like, a huge tie-in to Grogu's story. And hunting him for those reasons. So I do think that stuff will come into play. Yeah. But I guess the question is, as Michael kind of brings up, is like, how much is that going to come into play? And how important will it be in the larger story they're at least telling in this season?
Well, so I would say you don't need, like, we don't need to know his entire like backstory.
Totally.
But we need to know why he's such a sought after prize. And that would be linked directly to his past. Right. We got to know some kind of origin to figure out why he's so valuable to some of these factions.
What if Moff Gideon really just wants him because he just wants a friend, and he's like, "Here, could be
no, because he says he just wanted his blood."
Yeah. What if it's just his? It has nothing to do with Grogu himself. It's more just his species.
Well, then that's fine. But then we need to know that. Like, we need to, getting some more information then on the origin of his species or whatever, since they're not even named in the galaxy.
Green guys.
They're like the Mew and the Mewtwo of the Pokemon world. The Yoda and the Grogu.
What about Yaddle?
She dead. She dead.
Moving on. Junior, your qualifier. Go.
My qualifier is pretty simple. Don't split up Din and Grogu. We've had that a couple times now in Season 1 and Season 2. And, I think the show is the strongest when those two are together. And I don't want there to be multiple episodes in an arc where Grogu's given away or Grogu is stolen and they have to go fetch quest Grogu and et cetera, et cetera. I think that's been done a lot within the first 2 seasons within the Book of Boba. And so I hope they don't fall back into that. I think sometimes it's easy to do things that you're familiar with, and that's obviously something that's familiar with the show, but I hope it's now trending into a new direction where Grogu is like a little bit more dependent, right? He's not just this like helpless baby.
Right, he's had Jedi training, and now he knows how to look at a navigation thing on a Naboo starfighter. Show.
And we know he can force moves Skittles and M&Ms.
And spin a chair. That's pretty useful in the real world. So
you're not wrong.
Yeah. And he went with a weird chainmail instead of a lightsaber.
What if Grogu is stolen so that he can become his true self and he doesn't get saved, he saves himself? Would that still count for you?
Depends on how they do it. Like, I think...
Well, look, what if it's reversed and Din is captured?
Oh, yeah.
And somehow Grogu, through baby talk, has to assemble a team. I don't know.
That'd be awesome.
You got me.
It's the baby Frink people they all.
I mean, I think I don't want it to be like a multi-episode thing,
sure.
right? Because in both the first and the second season, that's a thing, right? Like it's the first season. The whole premise is he gets. I don't want it to be like the focus of the season, if that makes sense, right?
Right.
The delivery of Grogu, the like getting Grogu somewhere, which it doesn't seem like it is, right? This like we've talked about, the season seems like they're going back to Mandalore. He wants to bathe in the water and be with his people again, and all that type of stuff. They're really like leaning into that instead of like really focusing in on Grogu and this like basically the separation or the coming together of Din and Grogu.
Gotcha.
So I think I'm fine with it in like an episode, right? Like if they're not together for an episode for whatever reason. But if it's like if it's like the focus of the season, again, that's where I'm like,
gotcha.
It feels a little tired.
I think for me, the qualifier is actually very simple. And it has to be the dream is always a Grogu reveal.
Is it droid?
No, like when I say Grogu reveal, like, how everyone is shocked and there's so much conversation and theories around what is this Grogu thing in the first episode.
Yeah.
That was like that's like top tier Grogu level reveal. And the second tier is like Darksaber reveal, where it's like, oh my God, how the hell does this person have the Darksaber? That I think needs to happen this season because otherwise the galaxy's starting to feel small again, and way too it's just too coincidental and just small, and I don't know, something.
Well, we got
something
that a
big
little
needs
bit
to
in season
happen
2.
with what?
I mean, Ahsoka, and then the Grand Admiral Thrawn line.
Sure,
I mean, the Ahsoka thing was ruined because it was leaked.
that's true,
But it wasn't supposed to be leaked, right?
Right.
Like they weren't able to keep it as tight as they were with Grogu,
right.
and stuff because she's a known commodity. But like that was a pretty within the context of the story, it's a pretty big reveal. Right?
And I guess the Skywalker at the end too.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean that's huge too.
That's
Yeah.
huge.
That's
So I
huge.
need that I would consider those third tier.
Oh, and then Boba Fett showing up at the end of the first episode of season 2 was
That's
a pretty
been
big
ruined
reveal.
by the show, so I don't know what to say about
But at the time that was like a big reveal. Like,
Sure.
holy fuck, Boba Fett is alive.
that. Right.
Like definitively alive.
So what?
Canonically
So then I
alive.
need a dead character to come back.
You need
Darth Maul. I said.
No,
No.
you can't bring it back.
Please, no.
Again.
No, I want Darth Maul to show up. That's my qualifier. If there is no Darth Maul, the season sucks.
Are we getting a Sabine?
I would assume
I think they cast.
she's cast.
right?
Ezra's cast. There's rumors of Thrawn being played by Lars Mikkelsen, but it's rumors. I mean, I would assume this entire cast will show up in an episode or a flashback or a flash forward or something, or an after credit scene somewhere.
I also heard rumors of a Luke, Han, and Leia situation.
Oh,
God.
shit.
In The Mandalorian?
Not necessarily in The Mandalorian. They were talking. The rumors are in the speculation of a show about the three of them.
Oh.
Oh.
Like live action?
Yeah, deep fake.
I mean,
So maybe
new
the
indie
rumor
movie,
is
right?
to
It's
do
proven
with-
they can do it.
Because they could do deep fake and respeech.
Yeah,
They don't
exactly.
even need the actors.
You don't need them anymore.
man, that's
So that might be more pertaining to this, but it was in just general.
Would you do a full like show with like deep fakes and respeecher?
Like watch a full show.
Yeah, do you feel like you could do it? Do you feel like it's in a place where you could be like, I can do it?
You'd have to start it, right? Like, start watching the show and see how well it's done. And
But I don't know if there's a character like a Luke, Leia, Han show to me sounds boring as hell. What are they gonna do? Oh, Leia's talking politics. Han is being a drunk and confused parent.
Yeah, they're
Luke's
locked.
being a terrible
You're-
fucking master. Like that
you're-
sounds boring as hell.
You're kind of locked
Yeah.
in terms of what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Luke, Leia, like if specific to those three, no interest. If it's something like
R2D2, C3PO, BB-8, you're in.
You don't have to deep fake
Fuck
those.
no, God no, no. I don't know if there's anyone in Star Wars like there's no character like. I'd rather have a new character. I don't want the same characters. Like,
What
give
about
me
an
something like? Why do you think the Mandalorian and Grogu are so cool? They're new characters. Like, that's why Ahsoka was a new character. The entire crew of Rebels, new characters. If it's somebody that we've seen, no, please,
no
God,
more legacy
no.
characters.
Yes, be done with this.
what about an office comedy about building the Death Star?
I'd
Where
love
the
that.
boss
That'd
is
be
love that.
Tarkin or whatever?
I think that would be great. As we know in season 2 of Mandalorian, some people did survive the first Death Star. One of the in the last episode, one of the officers of some Kremlinian cruiser that they capture, he's talking to Cara Dune. He's like, "Yeah, I was on the first Death Star, and I watched as Alderaan, your planet, was blown to bits." And obviously, at that point, that was like 10 years later. So maybe you could do an office comedy of like a group of people coming back together to try and rebuild a third Death Star.
Star Killer Base.
Oh, Star Killer Base.
Or Star Killer Base, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then you could have like old people that are like, oh, I know how the Death Star runs, and the newbie crew trying
You
to
don't know what it
out.
is.
That would be a good show. That'd be a
I
great
don't
show.
know. I mean, that was kind of in Andor.
With the slave labor?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah,
it
that-
wasn't funny.
Oh, I laughed.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get into bold predictions before we get out here with was it good. We're because we're not big thing for our listeners. We're not going to be doing every single episode for this. I think the goal is definitely end of the season wrap. We may do a mid-season, but it really depends, I think, on what else is out there content-wise, and then also I think number 2, what happens in the show if it's honestly worth it. So
Yeah, if there's a big reveal, if like Ahsoka, like an Ahsoka level
event.
event.
There's Grogu level, Darksaber, and then Ahsoka.
Like if Ezra showed up.
Well, I haven't gone called to set, so I don't know if that's ever.
They
gonna
already
happen.
cast the guy who played. Already cast the guy.
It looks just like you.
I know. It's annoying. But anyway, yeah, bold predictions. Let's hear bold predictions for the whole season.
Okay.
Or if you're very...
Grogu will die.
Yes.
Just kidding.
That's what I came for this.
Or, Juno, what did we say?
All right.
You can make bold predictions about anything but somebody dying.
Darth Maul will live.
Oh, I love this. That's a good one.
Who's going first?
Christian's going to go first because he's ready.
Ready.
Mine's boring, but I think Din fails in his quest, and he leaves the creed of Mandalore behind.
Wait,
that's a really good bold prediction.
Wait. Actually, this actually works
Really?
out too.
I like
because
that.
You could actually sum it up to your bold prediction is Din will permanently remove the helmet.
But does Pedro want that?
I don't know. This is probably the
No, he
easiest
doesn't
gig
because
he's
it's
ever
less
gotten.
work for him.
I was gonna say that he has to be in every episode.
I was gonna say it did for the first time feel super weird that he doesn't get out of his helmet in this
In the
episode.
premiere?
Yeah, I was like, why is he still wearing that?
Because he's not there.
Yeah, he's not there.
He's not
Clearly
there.
He's
not.
filming The Last of Us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But yeah,
That's
I
a
think
good will.
he
That is a good
he
one.
leaves the
I like
leaves the
that.
creed behind.
Damn.
And here, I'll make it bold.
Oh boy,
He
you
won't
had a
be
good
able-
one.
Yeah. I'm gonna continue now. Now it's bold. He won't be able to remove the helmet because there'll be an explosion that melds the helmet to his face. So even though he leaves the creed of Mandalore, he still can't take off the helmet because it's part of
That
his
feels
head now.
so sad and like
does feel really
tragic.
sad.
brutal,
It is brutal.
brutal shit.
I really
There we
hope
go.
nobody sees this.
That way,
Is
so that
writing
way,
this story.
that way,
Yes.
so that way you can have Mando leaving the creed, but then Pedro doesn't have to be on set for every episode.
Yo, you should send this idea to his agent. Like, this is a genius idea.
I do a live action role where I get paid live action money, but it's really just a glorified voiceover.
So could we argue then that Pedro Pascal is the highest paid voice actor of all time?
Yeah, probably.
We'd have to, yeah, probably.
Jesus.
At least for a single project, it's got to be.
Yeah,
Pretty
it's
good.
high. Because I would argue, yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, there's more lines without helmet than lines with helmet. So even in that episode with Bill Burr, when they infiltrate the base and everything, and he has to remove the helmet, he sits at the table and he has that whole conversation, and he doesn't say a single thing.
Yeah.
He just sits there.
But he
They're
looked
like-
cool.
They're like, you didn't pay me. You only paid me for 5 lines with helmet off this season. So if we take it off here, I won't be saying anything.
He was supposed. He had lines, but he refused to say them.
It comes out
they're
that
like,
they
"Not in my
started
contract."
deep faking his voice in season 2.
Reese Feature.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and it's actually they just kept Pedro really just to do the marketing.
Do you think that's part of the contract that like now own his like Din voice, and so like if he did ever leave the role, they could re-speaker it so it sounds
so?
like him?
Keanu Reeves actually had a thing come out where he makes sure that his agents and people, when they look over contracts, it's signed in there that no digital recreation can be used,
Right.
or create or whatever. So I would imagine that hopefully somebody's looking out for him in that sense,
We'll
but
see.
you never know.
I mean, he signed
Henry
the contract
Henry
back in
Cavill-
2019.
Henry Cavill signed something that I don't know. You could argue cost him Superman. So. Whoops.
Oh. FYI, Matt Stone and Trey Parker are currently the highest paid actual voice actors at $800 and $600 million each.
Whoa.
Oh, like total,
annually or
makes
no,
sense.
total?
like total, right? Because of everything they've made over South Park, I assume.
I would
Certainly
hope so. I
doesn't
mean-
say in this little bit that I see.
800 million,
800
of
million
season.
per
Like what?
line.
That would be insane.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah.
Your bold prediction?
My bold prediction is going to be we see live action Omega this season.
Oh.
Are you saying that because Bad Batch season 2 is concurrently running right now and will
Yes.
end with a 2-parter the same week of the mid-season of Mandalorian season 3?
Synergy.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's my bold prediction.
Has that happened in Star Wars?
like a live action crossover.
Like an actual crossover with things happening at the same time.
Cad Bane.
TV to movies.
You could make the season 1 of Mandalorian and Rise of Skywalker, the
healing
the
factor.
force healing.
Yeah, but that wasn't a character. That was a idea.
That was an idea, but it's still a crossover of some type. You could argue they made sure the episode lined up with the movie.
Sure.
You could say that an idea is the strongest character of all.
Yeah.
That's how, cults and
Inception.
things are started. So, yeah, I guess so. I guess that's I don't know if that's bold, but okay.
No, that's pretty
We'll go
bold.
with
You want me to make it more bold?
She dies.
Season it up, Arjuna. Put some zest on it.
We won't. Not only will we get live action Omega, she will explain a lot of Grogu's history.
Yeah,
She
she's like,
has
oh,
a
this
big
idiot
connection.
green thing?
We
Yeah,
created him on Camino. He is a clone. Dun, dun,
Yeah,
dun.
there's a lot. There's more there that she will understand and maybe that she's gathered knowledge in the
In that
the
25-year
years.
period.
So she'll
Exactly.
tell us instead of them showing us what
Yeah.
happened. I love it.
She'll,
You know what
she
they
would
say?
also
Tell,
be,
not show.
She would also be
Classic.
the same age as Boba,
Yeah, they're.
which that'd be interesting. I mean,
I do think. Yeah, I mean, I think we have to at some point get Omega and Boba Fett.
I have a better bold prediction.
Go for it.
Just to piss you off.
Omega and Boba are the same person.
No, Omega comes back, and she becomes the leader of Mandalore.
That doesn't even make sense.
I don't care. It's bold.
I mean, I think we talked about this the last, during Book of Boba, we had some Omega predictions. Technically, she's a clone of Django. Django was a Mandalorian, so her showing up in a show called The Mandalorian, it's.
But
I like
remember,
Makes
Bo,
sense.
Bo and
Bo.
Sasha Banks, because I don't remember her character's name. Remember when Boba and Mando go to recruit their help? There's a whole line and everything about how Boba is not a Mandalorian. But what's interesting with that is Boba says to her, "I never claimed to be one."
Right.
But then at the same time, he defends his father's armor
Yep.
and the tradition of passing down armor. So
You
I
also-
think he's a little conflicted.
You also have to look at backgrounds, right? So,
Yeah.
everything we've seen of Omega, what's the heritage that she's really picking up on? It's that of the clone troopers. It's that of the
Right.
Bad Batch. She hasn't been, at least from what we've seen, hasn't been exposed to, Mandalorian culture. The interesting thing, if you do a live-action Omega in the Mandalorian timeline, is you're jumping ahead 30 years, right? And in 30 years, a lot can happen. So, maybe she splits off from the Batch at some point, and she does lean more into her Mandalorian roots, right? Which is there from what she has. Boba obviously leaned into his bounty hunting roots because that's what his dad was all about. And he taught him some of the traditions that his dad learned as a Mandalorian. Omega didn't have that. She grew up at a cloning facility around all these clone troopers, and now she is with the Batch. But I think what's fascinating if you do a live action Omega here is that it's a fascinating way you can take this character because she can fit into a lot of these different groups with the clone troopers, with the Mandalorians, and everything. And I wonder if Dave Filoni created this character because he's this is a character that can fit into a lot of these factions and has a lot of these identities.
I think it's
So
pretty
it's like a-
obvious that it's Bo-Mega. She's a clone of Bo.
Katan?
Yeah.
But they said she's a clone of Jango Fett.
Did you see it?
I think they say it pretty explicitly in the Bad Batch. She's genetically the same as the clones.
Yeah.
And they're all clones of Django.
Jango.
I thought it was
You know
just
what, real
bold
quick.
predictions.
Real quick, with Jango Fett, he's actually technically a foundling.
Right. He's not Mandalorian by blood.
And
But
he
Din is
was-
a foundling.
yes.
Yeah.
And he's a Mandalorian.
Right.
Right.
Because
Well,
Mandalorian
not anymore.
Right, because Mandalorian is the foundlings are
yeah.
all cultures and creeds, right?
Right.
And I think that's the thing. Omega is not a clone trooper, right? She wasn't genetically made to be a clone trooper, but her culture and her heritage is that right now of working with clone troopers, working
Right.
with the Bad Batch, right? There's no DNA code for bounty hunting, but Boba Fett had this whole stupid season called the Book of Boba Fett, and he's like, "Oh, I'm not a daimyo. I guess he didn't say I'm a bounty hunter, but he's having an identity crisis. Clearly, he doesn't know what he is.
Basically.
So I think Omega. I like I said with Omega, I think she kind of transcends a lot of these different groups that you can kind of call Mandalorians, right? Because it's like, you have Boba Fett is a Mandalorian in some ways, right? Because he's a clone of a foundling Mandalorian, but he doesn't identify as Mandalorian. And the Bad Batch and all the clone troopers, they could all technically claim to be Mandalorians, as they're clones of Mandalorians. So I don't know.
Well, I mean,
I think that's what's fascinating about like what they could do with the character.
that's true. I'm gonna give you my actual bold prediction.
Oh, that wasn't it.
No, I'm not gonna. No.
We'll keep it though.
My actual
We'll
bold
keep it.
prediction is going to be, we get the big bad finally behind Gideon,
Moff Gideon.
and he's gonna be Thrawn, and that's what's gonna lead into Ahsoka.
I thought we were doing bold predictions. That seems like obvious prediction.
That feels like a cold.
That's a
prediction.
really great prediction because it's going to come true.
I mean, this is
Now
about getting
zest it
the
up.
points, so
This isn't
So
about
wait.
getting points.
You'd be
they're in love.
assuming then that Thrawn has returned to the galaxy
I'm
and has
assuming.
been controlling things like a puppet master.
Right, I'm assuming he's already in the galaxy because there's the entire episode where Ahsoka's on, Dirty Planet and getting Beskar spear, and the lady's like, "Oh, you'll never find Thrawn," but it's implied that Thrawn is around somewhere doing something. So
he's come back.
yeah, he's come back. He's around.
And somehow Thrawn returned.
I would imagine.
whales.
I would imagine there is a very loosey-goosey plan of Thrawn being kind of this lead in to First Order and all the crap that they're doing,
Yeah.
and a way to kind of make it interesting.
Well, look,
Or else at least I would hope.
the behind the scenes, pull back the curtain. Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau have been given this 30-year time period to play around with, which they have dubbed the Mandoverse, right? Which is between episode 6 and 7, and they're building out their shows. They have Ahsoka, they have Skeleton Crew coming, and they obviously have the Mandalorian and all the Book of Boba Fett and everything. And they're gonna use those shows to like build that out. And I mean, Thrawn makes the most sense. It's like the Thanos, the Kang of
The Infinity
of everything
War.
that
Yeah.
can like kind of transcend the
But,
shows.
but please do it in a
and whatnot.
movie. Don't do it as a TV show or series. You guys remember The
Why?
Defenders and how that failed?
That was just bad. Like it was just
Yeah.
bad. Like it would have been fine if it was good. Like if they had written a good show, but they didn't. They wrote a bad show.
Okay, but what about the CW verse and in Crisis on
Again,
Cooper
bad.
Earth?
Bad.
Right, but I'm just
Right?
saying TV doesn't have a good track record of doing
It's
a
not.
big
It's not just
multi
no. But it's not the format. The format is not.
It's the format.
The format is not the issue.
But then name a big cross show event.
Just
Boba
because
Fett.
it hasn't been
Book of
done,
Boba Fett.
just because it hasn't been done, doesn't mean it can't be done.
It's
Power
impossible.
Rangers.
It's not impossible. In fact,
Power
that gives you
Rangers.
more real estate to do it, right?
Wait,
Because
here just said it.
yeah, Power Rangers.
Yeah,
So that's the thing.
That.
but I'm saying like at least with Star Wars and like with Marvel and like more other stuff, like it hasn't been done, so you can do it.
Do you think, based on what you saw this episode, that it's possible that they can do it?
No,
We'll
definitely
find-
not.
I mean,
no.
we'll see.
I don't. No. I
Book,
think
Book of
it's
Boba
impossible.
really did put a big dent in my belief in the
Wow,
the
Book of
Mandoverse
Boba,
crew.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
well the Mandoverse crew is what we're I'm
sure,
talking
but like
about.
you also, I mean, look at it when you have bad shows. Like, well, you told me though, numbers wise, right? Obi performed well or something. Is that what came out?
Well, if you look at the numbers, Obi-Wan and Book of Boba like destroyed Andor. But what's the better show?
Ugh, I hate it.
Andor.
It's not even close.
It's so stupid.
Wait, the numbers? Really? Did they release numbers?
There's like there's the numbers that like you can gather from what Disney Plus Disney will share, and at least from what they've shared, like the hours spent watching Obi-Wan were significantly higher than like the hours spent watching Andor.
So I mean, the big thing is like we'll never know what. I'm sure we'll never get like a clear statistical picture because why, as a company, like you don't have to release that.
Right.
So it really will be kind of actions. Like if an Obi-Wan Kenobi season 2 comes out and an Andor season 2 never happens for whatever reason, then we know
Right.
that an idiot is running everything.
Well, it's a business at the end of the day, so they're gonna
An idiot business person.
they're gonna go where the money is.
Idiot business. An IBP.
Ib.
All right, we've been rattling on for a long time. We've got to ask that question finally. Was my talking good?
No.
Oh, thank you for your time.
5 out of 10.
Okay. Christian, but in all seriousness, Christian, was Mandalorian Season 3 Episode 1. Apostate/prostate. Good.
Yes, the prostate apostate episode was good. I liked it. It was fun. We're back in the world. We're back in the universe. The action was good. Yeah, good start.
Yeah.
Tony Almeida, CTO.
I really missed the crawl.
What?
The Star Wars crawl?
Well, they've never had that in this show.
I know, but you remember that was like a big talking point for episode 1? They're like, there's no Star Wars crawl.
Well, I mean, Rogue One never had a crawl either. Solo didn't have a crawl.
Yeah.
It's only for the main movies.
It's only for the Skywalkers.
Yeah.
And the Palpatine turned Skywalkers.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Arjuna, was season 3, episode 1 of The Mandalorian good?
It was. I enjoyed it. Quests.
Coincidences. What was the other one?
Spectacles.
That sounds like a weird 1950s trailer. The Mandalorian, quest, coincidence, and spectacle. Everything you would want in a sci-fi blockbuster.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, man.
Damn it.
Yeah, amazing.
It sounds like Saw Gerrera would be like, lies, deception. It'd be like, coincidence, quest, spectacle. Ravi, was The Mandalorian, Season 3, Chapter 17. I almost said a prostate.
A prostate?
Apostle. Good.
Apostate.
Apostate.
No, prostal.
A brothel?
You said apostle.
Apostle.
Apostate.
Apostate. That's
Yes,
right.
apostate, not
Not
apostle.
apostle.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh my God, we said that way too. Anyway, yes, it was good. Big surprise. I'm a Star Wars fan. My God, I'm shocked. I can come in hot. Yeah, but no. As Christian put it so perfectly. Yes, it was good. I liked it. It was fun. We're back in the world, back in the universe. Tony Almeida's CTU. Pretty much sums it up perfectly.
There you go.
But yeah, no, it was great. It was good. I think what will be an interesting tell for the three of us this season is if come mid-season we're like, nah, we're good. We don't need to have a breakdown or whatever. I think that would be a big indicator that this season's not going well. So I'm kind of curious to see what happens around mid-season for sure. Because I would imagine 2, 3 are going to be kind of fluff episodes, if I had to guess. So, but yeah, that's going to do it, I think, for us here on Was It Good, the podcast that reviews movies and TV shows. As always, we are on the internet, as many other individuals are. We are on Twitter at Was It Good, on Instagram and TikTok at Was It Good Pod. And you can find our full episodes on youtube.com/wasitgood. Check out our website, wasitgood.info. Our next pod is going to be on Kang's sequel movie, Creed 3, co-starring Killmonger.
Also starring
Grief Karger's
Valkyrie.
son.
I don't get that reference because I never saw that show.
No, he played Apollo in the Rocky movies. Carl Weathers.
Carl Weathers.
I thought you were
Creed
making a
is
Wired joke for some reason.
Apollo's son. Yeah.
Yep. It's all connected.
It's all connected.
Mandoverse.
Mondo.
Wait, real quick. Who is the distributor and producing Creed? It's not a Fox property or FX right?
I don't know.
Because otherwise,
don't know.
Disney owns it, and there you go. Good connect.
I don't know.
I mean, Disney owns a lot.
I mean, they own pretty much everything. But anyway, that's gonna do it for us here. Good day.
Good day.
Good eye.